In this lesson, we're going to look at modes. And what modes are is they're scales. There's actually 7 of them, and they're all created from the major scale. So let me write the major scale. I'm going to write it in number form. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to write one more octave of this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we'll end there. So what the modes are is it's created using the major scale. However, when you start on number 1 and you play all 7 notes, and actually you complete it, the octave, which is 8 notes, that is a major scale. But if you were to go and start on 2 and go to 2, even though it's created from the major scale, it's going to sound different, and that's going to be a Dorian mode. I have all these names written out on my original Gnaw system video, but this is kind of hard to understand because, well, that's still, it should be the same. You're still using 8 notes, 1 to 1, 2 to 2. What's the big difference? What's the big deal? So in order for you to visually see it, I have to draw you something a little differently here. So let me go back. And here we go. Because this is what the major scale really would look like with the numbers. It would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. This is much more accurate, and you can see that there's no space between 3 and 4 and 7 and 1. And so let me go and write. There's a note there, note there, note there, note there. So there's these notes that don't have a number assigned to them in between certain notes. And so now, if I were to go and play 1 to 1, you see it's just not 1, to 7 and back to 1. The spacing is root, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. And it's because of this unique spacing that's what creates the major scale sound. However, if I were to go and now go from 2 to 2, the pattern changes because it's whole, root, whole, half. Remember, major scale was root, whole, whole, half. 2 is root, whole, half. Half note comes earlier. And then it goes whole, whole, whole. There's 3 wholes right there. So just because of how this pattern of which notes are whole, which notes are half is going to completely change the sound. And that is what creates the differences in how the mode scales sound from one another. I found, though, modes really didn't make sense to me. I never really got the aha until I was able to hear all of them in context to one another. And what happens is normally you would probably go learn the C major scale. And then for the Dorian mode, which is number 2, you would go play it starting on the 2nd note, which is D. So you go to D to D. And then the 3 is the Phrygian mode. And you're going to go, by the way, I have all of these names of the modes on my original Gnaw system video you can go check out. But it's from E to E. So it sounds a little different, but really you're still in a key of C major, and it's just kind of hard to get the difference in what modes are when you're kind of changing the root for each of the modes. And so what I'm going to show you how to do is to be able to apply these modes using the NA system on the guitar or bass, and you can hear the difference from one mode to the other all in one key. So here we go. This is how you do it. You're going to play all of these modes in the key of E. Key of E. And so to play it in E, you're going to want this low E string always to be open and ringing out. And every scale or mode is going to be created on this note right here. So A string, 7th fret, which is another E, an octave higher. So here, the first mode, which again is the major scale. They have a fancy name for it. It's, let's see, Ionian mode, but you know, it's basically the major scale. You would just play the number 1 pattern of the NA system, which is the second line of the whole, and only play 1 octave. You're going to end right here. That is a major scale. Remember, hit this open E string and then play this scale, and you will hear what a major scale sounds like. And then immediately after, same note, starting on the same note, ring this open E string and play the 2 pattern. You remember the 2 pattern is the second line of the whole half. And then play it out 1 octave. And that's what the Dorian mode sounds like. And what's great about this is you're still in the key of E. You just heard the major scale, and now you get to hear what a Dorian mode sounds like. And you all of a sudden get this, whoa, different colors, flavors of what this scale brings, or this mode, I should say. Then go to number 3. 3 is the Phrygian mode. Phrygian mode is the second line of the half whole. By the way, if you're wondering how does he have these memorized, you need to go back and watch the video on the NA system. This explains and shows you how you can memorize all these modes and patterns anywhere on the guitar or bass. So that is what the Phrygian mode sounds like, all in context with the other scales. The 4 is the Lydian mode. Lydian mode is it's a great sounding scale, and it's used a lot. Song from The Simpsons. Anyway, it's one. There's only one note that's different than the major scale, and if you were to play the Lydian mode and immediately go play the major scale, you would be able to hear the context and just get some, whoa, that sounds, I see how that sounds differently. By the way, just like in the chord progression theory, chords 1, 4, and 5 are major, chords 2, 3, and 6 are minor, and 7 is diminished. Well, these modes follow that same thing. So mode 1 or scale or mode 1, 4, and 5 are going to have a major flavor. Modes 2, 3, and 6 are going to have a minor flavor, and 7 is going to have a diminished flavor. So there's a 4. Here's the 5. I think you're starting to understand, hopefully, but I'm just going to do the whole thing for you. 5, you remember, is the first line of the 3 whole holes. And we'll just play one octave. That is the Mixolydian mode, the go-to mode for all dominant chords or even blues. This is what the scale or mode that would fit. Number 6 is what I like to refer to as the natural minor, even though it has a technical mode name called Aeolian, but it's basically a natural minor scale. And that is the first line of the whole half pattern, like that. This is 6. And then the last one, this is the kind of the one that stands out the most. It sounds very different from the other. Real like evil sounding, but this is the 7th mode, which is Locrian mode, and it's the first line of the half holes. So that's what the pattern looks like, and that's, if you were to play this, you would hear the context. And what I would encourage you to do is play everything with this open E string, all starting on this higher, 1 octave higher E note, and just go from mode to mode, and you will be exposed to what the modes have to bring and the different sounds and colors that you'll get through using these modes. And hopefully it will open up a whole new world of just sounds and ideas that you can use when you play. So there you go, how to play modes, how to understand and how to play them on your guitar or bass.